My name is Paul Stephen. I'm a franchisee of Jim's Mowing, and my franchise is Wantirna South. My code is PS2. I've basically been in the business 18 years, and I have a successful business. Basically, I run a couple trailer units, and I have a very large client base. I'm very, very satisfied with the way my business is going and the way it has gone in the past. When I first started, I bought a rundown business, which was not very, very good, and I've built it up to the level that it is now through a lot of hard work, working in all weather conditions. And I got started 18 years ago, and basically my income at that point in time was very, very low. And so what I did is a lot of door knocking initially and letter drops on either side of the clients that I had at that point in time. Basically, the job itself is lawn mowing. And lawn mowing I did on my own for about 8 or 9 months. And by this time, I built up my client base about 50%. And basically, I decided then at that point I needed to get an employee, which I started with at that point in time. My business entails a lot of lawn mowing, but now I do a lot of gardening. And I have, in my normal operating day, I could have anywhere between 12 and 25 jobs, which is, a lot of people think, whoa, but this is the way I like to operate. Because I operate 2 trailers now, this is pretty easy to cover. I do a lot of garden makeovers, and I do landscape as well. Basically, when I decided to join into the gym system, I looked at other franchises, and basically I decided to do the gyms because a person I knew had actually started, and he was very, very happy with what was going on with his life, and I decided, well, maybe I needed to do this too. I'd actually been retrenched 3 times before I started into the gym system, and I was getting pretty sick of that. And I am a worker, and basically, and I was unhappy with the circumstances of what life was throwing at me at the time. So I decided to do a franchise. When I decided I was going to do gyms, I planned exactly what I was going to do, and then once I signed up and I had lay-by time, I basically had a trailer built. This trailer being a hydraulic activated trailer, which I thought would help me because I actually have a chronic back issue, which I've had since I was about 22 or 23 years old. And basically, it is the best investment I've ever made. The trailer, I had a shiny, beautiful trailer and an old Holden ute pulling it along, which worked well for me at the time. Basically, this trailer, you can look at this trailer and just say, wow, that's a lazy way of doing it. But what I found, it was a great stepping stone for the rest of my business. My trailer actually weighs 1.4 tonne empty, so that would freak a lot of people out. It's a lot of weight to pull around, but it's 18 years old, so I can't complain about how well it's done. The trailer itself, I utilise the trailer in carting mulch, gravels, soil, whatever I need, sleepers. I have no issues with it whatsoever. It's made me money because it saves me delivery, and it also gets me to get the material right on the job, so I can reverse right onto someone's driveway. I don't have to worry about crossovers, about cracking crossovers and stuff like this. I can get it right. People are quite happy for me to put the trailer right into their backyards. So this saves me time. When I go to the tip to dispose of green waste and hard waste, I just basically press the button and lift it up. I'm in and out in under 10 minutes. When I first started with the gym system, I was like everyone else. I didn't know the difference between a camellia and a rhododendron. Okay, I had a bit of confusion about plants and what they meant, and I was really worried about plants and all their really fancy names and stuff like this. But after a little while, I decided that I wasn't going to make a lot of money out of just mowing lawns. I really needed to diversify. So I did a horticultural course, and this has been an absolute boon. It's opened my eyes, and what it's done is actually given me a lot more work, and it's given me incentive to work as well, because not only do you achieve through the clients, but you also achieve for yourself. And then you see the gardens after a couple of years of your development on these gardens and how good they look to what they were. This is part of the feel-good principle of what we do. And that's why I've been at it such a long time. The main thing with people and talking to people about their gardens is that don't lie. If you don't know what the plant is, find out. You know, you can use the Yates guide. You can use Yates online. You know, you can find out. If you do a horticultural course and you find out about leaf, you can develop a knowledge of the plant and what the shape of the leaf is. And then you know what the plant is or what genus it is. And basically, the knowledge that I've gained from the horticultural course has been probably the best that I've done. And I still get a lot of joy out of it. People ask me straight away, and I can say, "Oh, that's a white ash," and stuff like this. You know, horticulture is giving me development that I utilise for winter. I can earn more income in the winter, and then what I can do in the rest of the year. And this is I probably run about 2 to 3 A4 sheets of extra work up and above my normal lawn mowing and gardening as well. And basically, and that's through mulching, replants. I do a lot of bare root stock planting. Also roses. I probably do 2,500 roses. I do winter prune over the winter period. But winter, don't ever shrug winter off as saying, "Oh, I might go and watch Days of Our Lives or something on TV in the afternoon." Bad move. You know, you need to keep on moving. The consolidation of your business and reducing the amount of time that you spend in the ute going from one job to the next job is the most important issue for anyone in this business, is to condense. And if you condense, you will find that other people will actually approach you because you're already doing 2 or 3 lawns and jobs in one small area, and people will approach you because the people across the road, their lawns look so good, theirs looks pretty ordinary. And often you will pick up work for this. I have groups of 6 and 8 lawns in a court, okay? And I have lots of 3s, heaps of 3s. Basically, I find that with lawn cutting and stuff like this, for me, it's, and like everyone else it should be, it's the foot in the door to sell your other services. And selling your other services being hedging, fertilising, weed, you know, getting rid of weeds, lawn treatments, you know, garden treatments, looking at people's gardening, giving them a good idea how we can make their garden look much better. And this is the on-sales part of what I do, and I seem to be pretty good at it. I won't tell you how many clients I have quite a few, but basically probably 70% of my clients are all care. So I go and mow the lawns, I do all the hedging, do their fertilising. I just find that with people, and you get a rapport with customers, and you develop that rapport by remembering the kids' names, the dog's name, whatever you want to do. And you ask them how they're going and stuff like this, and just say, "Oh God, they're good. The garden's looking lovely." And just do conversations, simple conversations. Don't try and make yourself look important. Okay, basically go in there, just say, "I'm here. We're here to do a job. We're going to do a really good job." And basically, it works, and it shows too. One of my things I do, and is all my boys are multi-skilled with edging and lawn mowing. Is what I try and do is that everyone gets a turn at everything, so that no one ever actually gets bored with what they're doing. And I also often say to them that, have a look at that lawn after we've cut that lawn. I said, what does it look like to you? And usually the answer is, it looks great. And I said, it makes you feel good. And if you look at a lawn after you cut it and it looks great, it must look really good to the people that you've done the service for. What I do is I clean people's gutters in the front of the nature strip. So I just clean the gutter out, blow any leaves onto the nature strip, and then cut the nature strip the last job. What this happens is people come home, especially in the summertime when we have leaf drop and into autumn time, is that they drive up the street and the first thing they see is their gutter is clean and everyone else's is scruffy, okay? And I do this for all my clients, okay? I basically also don't believe in mulching lawns. I think it's a detriment to our service, but anyway, that's my opinion. Also, another thing I do is basically I try and develop a rapport with my clients so I can cut their lawn a little taller. So a lot of clients think that, oh, their father used to cut the lawn down to the bone, whereas I try and get the lawn up higher, because in the summertime with the heat and everything else like this, the lawn will cushion itself against the heat, and basically, and the grass won't die. And also the other thing, if there's any moisture overnight, it will actually hold to the grass, and this will keep the grass nice and green. So you'll probably get another cut or another 2 cuts by cutting it a little taller. With lawn cutting, you really need to control the rotation of the lawn cut. And I do this by saying, is that I will come and I'll do your lawn, say, on your budget. So if I do your lawn 19 or 20 times a year. So basically what that means is every 2 weeks, except for in the winter time, and then it's every 3 weeks. And you need to control that, because what happens is that when you get busy like me, you can't have people telling you when you turn up at the job, I don't cut the lawn today, because I tell you something, I unload them real quick. What I need to do is that, because of my client base, what I do is I set out a program for them, and they know exactly what's going to go on. And then I say to them on my sheet, I leave them an invoice. I hardly ever pick up any money on the day. I just leave them an invoice, and because they direct deposit through BSB, basically what I do is I write on the bottom, next time I'll come, I'll do such and such. Okay, and they know what they're going to get. So basically, and they're very, very happy with that system. Or if I talk to them, if they're home, which is not very often, is I talk to them basically, and then I outlay what I will do over the next 2 months or 3 months. And this system for me works very, very well. And my other driver who drives my other unit, he's basically on the same channel as me. So we have work coming in all the time, and I have inputs we run on a day-to-day diary. We both have a diary, and you might only have 10 or 12 jobs written in the wintertime, okay? But by the end of the day, you've done 17, 18 jobs just by doing gardening and little bits and pieces and pick up work and stuff like this. And it pays very, very well. What I want to say is a lot of fellas that come into the gym system is that I think lawn mowing is easy. It is not easy. It's a development of yourself. You can go out there and say, oh yeah, I can cut 10, I can cut 12 lawns. At the end of the day, yeah, maybe you can cut 10 or 12 lawns, but do they look good? Do they look good, or do they look scruffy? Do you do the edges right? I believe in you need to cut and edge every lawn. It doesn't matter whether it's the worst house in the best street. if you're doing that lawn, you should make that lawn the best it possibly can under the circumstances. Basically, when you're doing service on somebody's property, what you've got to think about is that it's their property and it's your service that you're doing for them. So basically, they're going to pay you money. So basically, if they're not satisfied with the service, they're going to get somebody else, or they're going to growl at you, okay? So what I've found over the years is that I don't really have an issue with that, because I'm a little bit pedantic about service work and how people's properties look. But what I generally do is make sure there's no weeds coming up through the driveway. Often you have cracks, expansion cracks in driveways. If there's any weeds or stuff like this, I basically just cut them off with a brush cutter or spray them in the springtime, because they grow so fast anyway. Leaf material in driveways, I clean this down. I clean people's decks down. I do an all-in service, and I basically charge for it too. So what I try and do is try and convey to these people that I'm here, I am a professional person who's doing a professional job, and I want to do a job better than their husband can do, or they can do, or their neighbour next door, or grandfather, you know. So what I try and do is that I approach this in several different ways, and one of the ways is cutting the lawn properly. Also, I use diagonal cuts as well on lawns. So if I've got a lawn that's on a main road and it's on a high side, I'll actually cut a diagonal cut, because what happens is people drive down the road and it catches their eyes straight away. Okay, oh, that looks different. God, that looks good. That's usually the comment you get, and people say, "Wow, how'd you think about that? I've never ever thought about that." That's one of the things I get all the time. I only do it to attract other people's eye to that lawn. Okay, so if I've got a major road, if I'm doing some work on a major road in my area, I'm basically trying to attract other attention to the job that's been, and that job mightn't turn over, another job mightn't turn over for 12, 18 months, but it will. And if you basically keep on doing a really good job on the property, and basically people after a while take a lot of notice and say, "Oh God, I've got to get that bloke in." And this is why my business survives like it does, because the area I'm in, I get a few pages, but basically most of my work is walk up and word of mouth, and this is how I go. But another thing you need to talk about is gear and your equipment. Okay, now the equipment you need to be, because I'm in a position, I have a couple of trailers on a road and I need a lot of equipment. You need to have high maintenance on your equipment. You can't run one lawnmower. You really, if you're standing alone, you really need two lawnmowers, and you need to change them over daily. So each day, one lawnmower gets a rotation. Okay. What this will do will actually save your blades, okay, but it'll stop wear and tear too much, and you spread the wear and tear over the two machines, and then you need to maintain. My policy, if you're running two lawnmowers and you've got about 60 or 70 clients, okay, you need to service your machines once a fortnight, and you need to sharpen the blades, change the oil. You need to clean the air filters. If it's a bit dusty, a bit dry, you need to clean the air filter at least once a day, okay? And you need to wipe out the box where the air filter goes in. Basically, but oil, you need to keep a check on your oil. You need to check your oil every 2 or 3 days. If you're working in the springtime and the going's really hard, your oil consumption can rise because your lawnmowers are running pretty hard. And you need to check the oil, because the oil will burn up, and next thing you know, you won't have any oil in your sump and you'll lose your engine. So these are the sort of things you do. Blowers, basically they're pretty easy to maintain. You just need to clean the air filters once a week, once a fortnight. Once every 3 weeks in the winter time, once a fortnight medium time. When it's really dusty, once a week, you need to clean your air filters. You need to take them out, wash them out, dry them off, clean the housing, and then replace them. Service is a very important part of your operation. I have some lawnmowers which are 18 years old, and they're Hondas. They don't smoke. The reason that they're so long is in life is because they get serviced, and basically I change over the lawnmowers every day. So I have one trailer that has 3 lawnmowers on, and I have the other trailer that has 2 lawnmowers on. The 3 lawnmower trailer actually does lots of lawn mowing, and they change it over daily. So every lawnmower has its turn on that day. Because you have other operators in there, and you usually have a lead operator, and he usually takes off and does the bigger part of the lawn, and another operator will do edging, and another operator will clean up and do the other stuff. I have changeover discs, which are over here. So whenever I have a really hard lawn to do or something like this, and I get 2 or 3 days along in a week and I think the grass has been really tough, I'll actually just change out the cutting disc from a lawnmower and put on a nice new sharp one so I can finish off the week. Because one of the things I always like is I look at the top of the grass, and if it looks burred, that means that your blades are blunt. But if it's a nice clean cut, you will find that the lawn looks a lot better, but also it takes the pressure off the engine. If your blades are really sharp, that means that your engine does less work. So it does it a lot easier, so you don't have to run at a high rev range. Also, the other thing, if you cut the grass and it looks a bit scraggy on the top, in the summertime that can burn off and give it a white tip, and it doesn't look very nice. So that's all part of your quality of your work. And if you don't have that white tip on your grass and it looks nice, clean cut, people go, wow. One of the things that I always sell to people, if you have a really green lawn, it actually gives you a good backdrop for your house. And also, it actually has a cooling effect on the house as well. So people who have stark houses with just pavers and stone and stuff like that, the houses are very hot because actually lawn is a good insulator. And basically, and that's part of what I try and tell my clients or new clients that are coming along in the development. And what I do is then I say to them, I'll get your lawn all cleaned up. I can clean up your garden, but we'll leave the garden for a moment. Let's work on the lawn. We'll get the lawn going by using fertilisers, some selective lawn sprays, weed sprays. Basically, then we get a nice bit of density, a bit of colour in there. People go, wow. And then you start working in your garden. You've already got them. You know, this is all part of your salesmanship. And then you just say to them, look, your garden looks pretty good. This is one of my sales pitches. So, look, your garden looks pretty good. It just needs a bit of a tidy up. We'll get some fertilisers in there. We'll get some nice colour. You have a bit of margin on your leaves, which is telling me that you're nitrogen deficient. Basically, this is what I do. And I tell people that their gardens are really good. Even though if it doesn't look real good, you can say to them, I can get this looking a lot better than it is. Investment in tools and lawnmowers. The smartest move you can do is to talk to other people about the machines that they use. Okay? Now, I have some special machines that I use. Not everyone agrees, but Honda lawnmowers are the best. Now, Honda lawnmower, self-propelled Honda lawnmower push. With machines in the summertime, I have a little trick I use with machines in the summertime, especially with your two-strokes. You won't have any trouble with your lawnmowers, but your two-stroke machines is that you wrap a wet rag around them and stick them in your toolbox. And then you go on to the next job, and that actually cools them down enough to get them started, even if it's 35, 38 degrees, and they'll still start. And just a little trick I use, just wrap them up in an old t-shirt, just put the whole engine compartment inside a wet t-shirt, and basically, and then just put it inside your toolbox or stick it on the back of your ute if you have a ute, and you'll find when you get to the next job, it just starts straight away. But if it's hot and you don't cool it down, you're going to have some trouble because the fuel vaporizes within the lines of the machine. The other thing is I've done over the years too is that if I have a group of clients in one court or a street or something like this, is that I always watch my charge rates and stuff like this. It's okay to put lawns up. Yep, it's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that if they need it with CPI and stuff like this. But just don't put them up because I need the extra bucks right here now. You've got to look at the long term. I look at the long term. So if I've got 5 clients, which I'm going to do this afternoon in a group, okay, and they're basically all $44, okay, and it's going to take us an hour and a half, okay. The 2 of us are going to cut that in an hour and a half. Now, I don't know, you get your calculator out and work that out, and you think, oh, that's pretty good money. So if I thought, oh, I might buy them for another $1, per head, I might lose 2. That's the way I operate. And do you need to put up that lawn price? If you're doing a group of lawns together, it's giving you good money, you got less travel and stuff like this. You need to balance it out a bit. That's my own experience. If you have an individual lawn out in the middle or somewhere, you got to travel, 3/4 of a K or something like this, which is a long way for me. You've got to travel a little bit of distance. You get there and you're going, like it's a 3850 lawn and, it's got a big backyard and you go, all right, okay, I'll give them a price rise this springtime, okay? So you get a couple week rotations into the springtime, and you say, oh look, I really need to put your lawn up a little bit, look $1 or $1.50 or $2 or something like this. Would it be okay? The way that you approach your customers in price rises is that you need to tell them that you need to cover your costs, okay? And if you've got to travel to this job and you look at it and you go, it's a bit out of my way, okay? It costs me money to get there, especially if you have an employee in the truck, and you've got to look at that, and you just say, well, if it drops off, it drops off, I don't worry too much about drop off because I know just around the corner there's always another one.